Hello and welcome to my home. On the background you can see a part of my mother's picture. You can find her Facebook profile in the comment section. You can like her pictures. You can see this one in the full format. Besides the link to her profile, you will also find two important links for this lesson. First one is a video on YouTube with the song and the cartoon to the song, which we will discuss today. And the second is the lyrics to the song. What is important for this song? Why I chose the song? Well, first, it is very important for Russian people because it covers several topics which are kind of a common cultural background for Russians. All Russians will understand it. And if you as foreigner will come and look at this cartoon, you might think it's kind of ridiculous, it's childish. However, it's not. Then another thing, what we will learn today. As you can see, I decided to put it in print, the lyrics, so we won't write. However, I'm suggesting you to write everything down as we do it over and over in different lessons. In this lesson, we will see many different grammatical structures. I won't explain you the grammatical structures because it's simply out of the scope of this lesson. But I will show you how to deal with this, because Russian language is a multi-layered language. We got genders, we got agreement between words, and we got cases. So all of this makes Russian language kind of difficult. Actually, it makes it much more difficult than languages like English. Because in English, once you learn the rule and you get a set of words, you can kind of start speaking. At least you can transmit your message and you can understand what's written inside the sentence. However, as the beginner of Russian language, you get a problem that this multi-layered structure of the language makes you kind of reserved and being scared of approaching this. Because once you see a new ending, what are you doing with this? Will you go and check it in the grammatic book to understand what is going on there? So in this lesson I will show you that you shouldn't do this. You should approach Russian language easygoing, and if you see a new ending, try to recognize the word, because everything what Russian language describes, even with the cases, it's something which is which can be described in English or in any other language. So we are speaking about the same things, about the same topics in the same way. So there is a difference in the logic of language, but it is understandable. So just go with this with flexibility. And in this lesson, it's my plan to show you how to deal with different cases without actually knowing a case, just by guessing. And well, another thing what you should learn from this lesson are the special words and words combinations which are coming in the song, and they're kind of fun to learn because they're repeated there and they're also important. So in the cartoon you will hopefully memorize something, and I'm suggesting you just to watch it over and over again, and as long as you have fun on the song. So now pause the video and go to the link section and follow the link to the cartoon. And also, if you got the possibility, print out the lyrics. So you realize that everything in the cartoon was made out of modeling clay, this children toy modeling clay. In Russian language, the name of this material is plastilin. I know in English there is a special word, plasticine, and I know that not many people use it. So, however, if you know the plasticine, it is the same material in Russia. The modeling clay. And plastilin, you can see it in the name, in the title of the song, plastilin. And varona. Varona is crow. It ends in a, it is feminine. Why am I writing this? Because we are doing it so many times, and probably you already start to recognize the genders of the words. In Russian language, you have to pay attention for the words where you can easily find out the gender, especially if you read the text with the context. Because later on, once this word comes within the context in a grammatical structure, it might be difficult to understand the gender. So it's better to pay attention on the easy places. And well, it helps you to recognize and to point your attention on the genders. Let's start with the title, and I will show you how to overlook difficulties in the Russian language. Here we got ending ovaya. We got plastilin, plasticine, and the ending ovaya. What can we understand from this? Because if you will try to translate plastilinovaya, you probably won't find the translation, because ovaya, it's the ending which changes the word to become a descriptive word, kind of an adjective, actually an adjective. So the crow made out of plasticine. But if you will look at this, plastilin and vorona, those two words which you will find in the dictionary or in a Google Translator. And then the basic logical follow-up of this, that the crow is made out of plasticine. Otherwise, there is no connection between two words. So here, kind of, even though you don't know the ending ovaya, you created a sense out of the sentence. And this is actually the main suggestion for you how to deal with the Russian language. If you see the modifiable part of the word, usually it's the ending, but sometimes it's also the beginning of the word, so the prefix or the suffix. Remove the suffix in your head and use the word in the meaning as you know it. In Russian language, we got stems of the words, and well, the stem of the word gives kind of a meaning for those words. Sometimes it differs from the actual word which you are reading, but it gives you some fun in studying language and understanding this, because first your brain works trying to guess what is going on in the sentence, which is it probably doing anyway, and it gives you some speed. So basically you don't need to go over and over to the dictionary to translate this word, and especially you don't need to go to the grammatic book and try to understand the grammatics. So let's start and I will show you how it works. First sentence. Одну простую сказку. Одну простую сказку. We can find word сказка in the dictionary. Сказка. Сказка is a fairy tale. We can also make a plural out of сказка because we know how to do this. It would be сказки with the ending e. Сказка is feminine because it got ending a. But what is going on with this case? I already gave away what is going on here. But what is going on with this ending u? Basically, it is the case. One of the cases from the case system in Russian language. And in this poem, in this song, you get several different cases. Basically, you will find different cases everywhere in Russian language. The case basically shows what is the function of the word within the sentence. That's why also Russian words within the sentences can be replaced. So, простую сказку and сказку простую got the same meaning, even though words are having different places. So this is the function, the brief function of cases. But here I am assuming you don't know the cases because you're in a basic Russian language course. And how will we deal with this? How will we translate and make sense out of what we are reading or hearing? So, сказка. Сказка is fairy tale. Простую. We can guess this word because we already learned it. It's simple. Простой and простая, простое. It's the three genders of simple. And the antonym for this was difficult. Сложный, сложная, сложная. Repeat it after me. Простой, простая, простое. Сложный, сложная, сложная. So this ending u does not include anything what we already learned. But we already know that the words need to agree. So here we got простую сказку. And well, this ending u, it is modifiable ending, as well as простой, простая, простое. The endings are changing. So take it as simple. Now we got simple fairy tale. It makes sense. It's perfectly making sense. And одну. We already know this word. Один, одна, одно. And here we got одну. Because we are describing сказку. Один, одна, одно. It's three genders for one, a, or the. So one fairy tale, a fairy tale, or the fairy tale. You can decide how to translate it. So one simple fairy tale. It's perfectly making sense. Одну простую сказку. Read it with me. А может и не сказку, а может не простую, хотим вам рассказать. Double S is read as one S. Рассказать. Ее мы помним с детства, а может и не с детства. А может и не помним, но будем вспоминать. Нам помнится вороне кар-кар-кар-кар-кар. А может быть собаке гав-гав-гав-гав-гав. А может быть корове му-му-му-му-му однажды повезло. I'm sorry I was reading fast, but we're under this time pressure. I want to make it as short as possible. So, here, as you can recognize, we got а может repeating in all of the small passages in the song. So, а может means maybe. A can be translated as and but. You can choose one of the meanings. If you know only one, just choose it. You don't need to go to the dictionary and to review all of the 20 different meanings of this word. Then we can also see не. Everywhere in all passages we got не. What is не meaning? Actually, we already learned it. It basically makes a negative of the following word. So, не сказку, сказка, we got a fairy tale or a tale. So, не сказку means not a fairy tale. Простой was simple. Не простой means not simple. Одну простую сказку we already translated as one simple story, fairy tale or tale. А может и не сказку. And here we already got the meaning. А может means and maybe or but. Maybe you can choose the one translation, which sounds better. И не сказку. И got meaning and. But if you translate it into English, then it loses its meaning. It loses its function in English. In Russian language, it's used here more or less to make language sound more flowing. We could simply remove it and it will be fine. And this is also what you need to do in your translation. Because what we got here now, and maybe not a fairy tale, and maybe not simple, хотим вам рассказать. Вам means to you in the polite form. So they address us in the plural or somebody out of our audience in the polite form. Рассказать? Well, here we got a thing. We already know a verb сказать is one of the top verbs in the Russian language, and we already learned it. It means to say. And here we got рассказать. Рассказать, сказать. And well, in Russian language, they are more or less synonymous. There is a grammatical difference between both of them, grammatical and meaning difference, but we don't know this meaning difference right now. And if you translate it into English, this is the positive thing. If you translate it with telling, to tell, both of them are translated as to tell. So if you recognize within рассказать the word сказать and translate it as to tell, it's perfect because you removed the modifiable beginning of the word and you understood that here we got the word to tell. And хотим comes from хотеть. Хотеть, and we know how to conjugate verbs. And хотим is for the plural. Я хочу, I want. You, ты хочешь. We, мы хотим. Мы хотим вам рассказать. Or мы хотим вам сказать. Хотим вам рассказать. We want you to tell. We want to tell you. So now you need to guess. You need to use your creativity to understand the meaning of this. One simple story, and maybe not a story, and maybe not a simple, we want you to tell. So we want to tell you one story, which might be simple and not simple, which might be fairy tale or not a fairy tale. Let's continue. Ее мы помним с детства. Ее мы помним с детства. А может и не с детства. А может и не помним, но будем вспоминать. Here we got the word детство and помним, which we need to translate. Детство comes from детство. Детство means childhood or youth. Детство, childhood or youth. Помним comes from помнить, to remember. What is going on with this с? We already know it. It means from. So from childhood. For English speakers, it's straight away understandable. From childhood, it can only mean from childhood, starting from childhood. But here we got the ending a. It might make you think that детство is a feminine word or whatever, you might come to any meaning of this word. However, here we got the combinations, детство, which is a combination of instrumental and prepositional case. And you can recognize it from preposition like с, is, or от. So it's a complex structure, which is very difficult to explain to an advanced language learner. However, from the logic and from the meaning within the sentence, it is easy to understand, because once you come from childhood, even in a simple form without understanding all of the endings, you understand it's from the ending, from the childhood. Мы means we already know it, and помним, помнить is to remember. So Мы помним. Я помню. Ты помнишь. Мы помним. We are remembering. And here we got ее, meaning her. Ее means her. Его means him. Ее мы помним с детства. So what can does ее refer within the song? Surely сказку. Surely the tale, the fairy tale. And why are we using ее? Because сказка is feminine. This is why you need to pay attention for the gender of the word. For the gender of the word, because here, for example, we already need to understand that we refer to сказку. And here we got an easy game. А может и не с детства, but maybe not from the childhood. А может и не помним, but maybe we're not remembering it. Не помним, not remembering, не с детства, not from the childhood. Но будем вспоминать. No means but. Будем we got here derived word from быть, to be. So we don't know future right now, because будем is in the future, we will. But we got a verb to be, быть, to be, and вспоминать. Вспоминать, if you start checking on the dictionary, you will find this word comes from вспомнить or помнить. Here we need to use the simple meaning. So let's assume you know verb помнить or better вспомнить in this context, or both of them, because they are synonymous and easy to remember, because there is only a vs in the beginning which changes. So помнить is to remember, to be and but. So but, to be, remember. So but we will remember it, or but we will remember it. There is a meaning in this. The meaning which is easy to understand from what is combined from these three words in the dictionary form. So what are we getting here? Ее мы помним с детства. Her we remember from childhood. And maybe not childhood. And maybe not remember, but to be remember. But we will remember it. Actually, it's easy to understand. It's much more difficult to speak, but it is easy to understand. And for the speaking, there's surely Russian language is so difficult, and the case system is scary. However, don't worry about this. There are millions of people who learn Russian language, who study it, and who speak it on different levels. So, for example, there are foreigners coming from Kazakhstan. They speak perfect Russian language, sometimes even better than Russians themselves. And there are some foreigners from Central Asia who speak basically in the way I'm explaining you how to understand this. But the Russians, we understand them all. We understand the people from Central Asia. We understand the people coming from foreign countries who are speaking in their grammatical structure in the Russian words they know. So there shouldn't be any problems with the communication. If you meet a Russian person and you speak the way I'm teaching you how to translate right now, they will understand you're a foreigner, you got difficulties to explain yourself, but they will understand what you want to say, even though you don't know the case system. Now let's continue. And here we got a very important passage, because here we will learn also a dog language, cow language, and a crow language in the Russian. Нам помнится вороне. So here we got again a special grammatical structure, which I don't want to explain you now, and I don't want to mess up with your brain. But here we got a case. We remember ворона, the crow. Вороне is to the crow. This is the function of the case within what is going on here. But if we will translate it with нам, to us, we already know it. Помнится, again, we don't know the ending ца, but we know the word помнить. So us remember crow. So we remember the crow. Kar, 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 kar. And the kar is the way Russian crows are speaking, or the way it sounds to Russians how the crows are speaking. And it is important for you to know. Let's assume you cannot remember crow. So if you say kar, 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 people will understand that you are referring to the crow, because this is the crow's language. А может быть собаки. Here we got собака. We already know the word собака. with the ending a, it is feminine, it is dog, собака. But we got собаке. Собаке is a case again, because it's the same case as in the first line. It means to the dog. But if we'll see the sentence, а может быть and maybe, быть is to be, and maybe to be dog. I understand it's far-stretched understanding, but you can derive the meaning from this. You can understand what is going on in the sentence. And maybe dog, and maybe to be dog. So we are questioning here. Maybe it was a dog. So the meaning is kind of understandable here. And gav, 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 gav. This is the way dogs are speaking. So if translated to English, it would be wow, 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 wow. Gav, gav, gav. А может быть корове. And maybe cow. Му, 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 му. Mu is the way cows are speaking. Однажды повезло. Once, однажды. If you will translate it, it will be once. Повезло, got lucky. So, once got lucky. Let's translate it. We remember crow and maybe to be dog and maybe to be cow once got lucky. So once of them got lucky. The meaning is understandable here. Прислал ей кто-то сыра. Слать is to send. Прислать is also to send. So if you know one of these verbs, прислать and слать, you need to remember or you need to recognize that слать is something built in which is common for both words. So you need to connect the meaning of both words. I know it sounds difficult right now, прислать, слать, and all of these prefixes and suffixes. However, later in the song, I will show you something which will make you understand that it is actually easy, because I already found several words there where you know the word and you will understand the word with the prefix, even though you don't know the word with the prefix straight away. So, прислал ей кто-то сыра. Прислать means to send. Ей, to her. You should know ей, it's important, to her. Кто-то means somebody. Кто-то, somebody. Learn it, it's important. Russians like to use this word. Сыр. Сыр is cheese. Сыр is cheese, but we got сыра here. Сыра. Again, we got a case. What can you do with the cases? Even if you learn these cases, it will be difficult for understanding what is going on here with this ending, because ending might show the plural or might show another grammatical structure, and you might not recognize the case. However, it shouldn't be a difficulty which is stopping you from understanding the meaning of the sentence. So translate it as cheese. To send her somebody cheese. Somebody sent her cheese. And we already understand what is going on here. But on this moment, I want to explain you what is going on in this cartoon, because you might think, well, it is a children's cartoon which teaches them dog, crow, and cow. It's not like this. There's a trick inside this. There is something special inside this cartoon. And I know there is a cartoon with the translation. By the way, this translation is not very good. This is another topic which I also wanted to touch here. So first of all, where is this coming from? So where is the story coming from, and why I told you it's a common cultural background for all Russians? Because all Russians know the story. It's not a simple fairy tale. It is a fairy tale or a fable, a story with animals which are replacing people, basically people's feature shown by animals. Written by a famous writer, Ivan Krylov. So Ivan Krylov, some hundreds of years ago, in late 18th, beginning of the 19th century, actually in the beginning of the 19th century, started to write fables, where he replaced characters, which could be people, with animals. Why did he do this? Because Russia was a highly censored country. You couldn't criticize Russian life, or Russian hierarchies, or Russian tsars, or royals straightforward. You couldn't criticize them because you wouldn't go through the censorship. You would go to prison for this. So he started to use animals instead of this. Actually, it was kind of all around the Europe, and there is a famous writer Fontaine who was doing this, and they were working together. Some people say that Krylov was taking some of his stories and translating them into Russian or modifying them into Russian. I don't know the exact story, but this is the story behind. And one of his most famous poems is The Fox and the Crow. And in the Fox and the Crow story, the crow got somewhere piece of cheese, and it sits on a tree and eats the cheese. Suddenly a fox passes by, and in Russian fairy tales and in Russian culture, fox is a clever, tricky animal who can trick you into basically anything. So, and the fox wants to have a cheese. It starts to speak to the crow and asks from the crow, "Oh, crow, you're so beautiful. You're a great animal. The bird as beautiful as you must be able to sing beautifully, because a beautiful person supposed to make beautiful things. You must be able to sing beautifully." And well, crow believes in what fox is saying. It flatters her, and crow starts to sing, and the cheese falls down, and fox got this cheese. So this is the story. And in Ivan Krylov stories, there are always a moral. And the moral here, if somebody flatters you, you shouldn't believe it straight away. You shouldn't fall for the people who tells you kind of sweetish stories to manipulate you. This is the story from Ivan Krylov. And here we got the understanding why is the story within the cartoon tells somebody sent her cheese. Прислал ей кто-то сыра. To send her somebody cheese. Somebody sent her cheese. Грамм думается 200. Gram is gram. In Russia we got a metrical system, so we calculate everything in kilograms, grams, meters, kilometers. Грамм думается 200. 200 means 200, we already know it. 200, 200. Gram is gram. Думается. It comes from думать. And again we got this тя. We don't understand what the ending тя means. And we don't want to check it in the grammatic book, because it might be in agreement with other words. It might take us so much time, but we want to know what is going on here straight away, right now. So we are taking думать. Думать. You will find it in the dictionary. Думать. To think. Gram, to think, 200. Here, грамм думается 200, we think 200 gram, or to think 200 grams. Here there's actually a difference, because in Russian language this is one exception. If we say грамм 200, means we don't know if it's 200 grams. We are guessing it might be 200 gram. So the word position in this particular case is important. So грамм 200 means about 200 gram. So if you would say рублей 200, so about 200 rubles. But if we say 200 рублей, 200 gram, so the position of the words is changing. We know exactly that this is 200 rubles, this is 200 grams. So, and gram and rubles you can hear, because ruble is the noun from the dictionary and gram is the gram from the dictionary. Again, we got the case system, but still we can understand what is going on here. So, грамм думается 200, about 200 grams. Gram, to think, 200. А может быть, and maybe, 300, and maybe 300. Sure, this and does not have any translation in the English. And maybe, to be, and 300. Just if you cannot translate something, especially small words like e and, just remove them. Because here, if we translate only the important words, maybe 300. So somebody sent her cheese about 200 grams or 200 grams and maybe 300. А может полкило, and maybe half a kilo. На ель она взлетела. На means on. Ель is pine tree. I believe it's pine tree. However, it's a Christmas tree, needle tree. На ель она взлетела. Она is she. On pine tree, she взлетела. Here we got летать. Летать we already know is to fly, летать. If you can recognize that лететь is the same as взлетать, use it this way. So use лететь, взлетать synonymous, it means to fly. And here we also got a case system, but we can understand what is going on in the line. Na, on, pine tree, she flies. She flew on a pine tree. А может, не взлетела, and maybe not to fly, and maybe not flew up. А может быть, на пальму, and maybe. На means on, again, on pine tree, on palmu. Palmu, can you understand what is going on here? Because you know the word palma, the palm, the tree where the bananas are growing. So on palmu, here we got the ending u. Palma with the ending I is feminine, if you check it in the dictionary. And here we couldn't explain why the ending is u. I'm telling you it's a case. It's a special case of Russian language, but we can understand what this case implies because we got on palm. It's obviously on the palm. С разбега взобралась. And again, we got разбег, бег, we already know it, бегать, to run. Бег is running, so the process and the word running. And разбег is with the on running, so there's a where you accelerate, so you start running. The process where you accelerate means разбег. Разбег and бег. Разбег and бег, and if you can see the resemblance between two, you can understand here we are speaking about running. С means from running, взобралась, and here again we got забраться, взобраться. If you need to translate it, it's a difficult advanced word, but взобраться and забраться are synonymous. And you need to understand that there's a modifiable v in the beginning does not really change the meaning of the word. It changes some meaning of the word, but for you, for translation, if you understand or recognize some word inside the advanced, more difficult word, use the translation you already know. So let's translate it. На ель она взлетела. On the pine tree, she maybe flew up, and maybe she ran up on the palm.